we're going to use something called the difference quotient. I'm just going to take a pretty basic note on it and using an example. So the difference quotient is actually written as f of x plus h minus f of x all over h. There's the quotient, and the minus sign is the difference. And I need a function to evaluate using this difference quotient. And the function I'm going to use in this case is just 2x squared minus 3x plus 2. And I'm going to evaluate this function using the thing called the difference quotient. There's a lot more implications to this, higher level math, but right now all we're doing basically is an algebraic exercise. So I draw my big division bar from that division bar. I'm going to put my minus sign on top from that minus sign. And I'm going to throw the h underneath of it. And notice f of x goes in the back, so whatever f of x equals, I'm going to put behind the minus sign. Now I have to wrap that up in parentheses so that I can distribute that negative a little bit later. Now what goes in front of the minus sign is a little bit difficult. Notice how there's a 2, so I'm going to put that 2 from the function, and there's an x, but wherever there's an x, I have to substitute in this x plus h. So I'm going to put 2 times some quantity squared, because it says 2 times x squared, minus 3, because it says minus 3, times x. Now where that x is, I'm going to put another set of parentheses, and then plus 2 in the back end. Now I have to fill those parentheses in with this value here, x plus h. And that's going to give me a lot of algebra to complete. Another big division bar. And I'm going to start working on this algebra. Now notice I have to FOIL this out first before I can distribute that 2. So I'm going to write that 2 down, and then I'm going to FOIL out x plus h squared. So that's going to be x plus h times x plus h. And notice I get a middle term of 2hx. That's going to be x squared, x times x. H times x is hx, and then h times x is hx, and then h times h is h squared. And then I'm going to combine these two to get 2hx. So that's going to give me x squared plus 2hx plus h squared. Now I'm going to distribute this negative 3 minus 3x. Distribute that negative 3 minus 3h. Bring down the plus 2. I have to distribute the negative, so negative 2x squared. Distribute the negative plus 3x. And distribute the negative again, minus 2. This is still all over h. I have a little bit more algebra to do. I'm going to distribute that 2 out in front of that quantity. So it's going to give me 2x squared plus 4hx plus 2h squared. And I'm just going to copy this down really rapidly here. Minus 3h plus 2 minus 2x squared plus 3x minus 2 all over h. And now you'll notice I can combine like terms. So when I combine like terms, I'm not going to need such a large division bar. And so I'm going to put up a medium division bar, an equal sign, and then a simplified division bar again. So let's see what happens if I start simplifying. Notice the negative 2 will simplify with the positive 2. Let's take a look. The positive 3x will simplify with the negative 3x. And then the negative 2x squared will simplify with the positive 2x squared. Now I'm going to bring down these combined terms. So that's going to leave me with a 4hx, a 2h squared, minus 3h, all over h. Now let's see, we have an h in every term. An h here, an h here, and an h here. We'll say that's muchos hachas, a lot of h's. So I'm going to factor an h out from the top. And notice there's still an h on the bottom. So when I factor that h out, when I take an h out of 4hx, that leaves me with just 4x. When I take an h out of 2h squared, that leaves me with just 2h. And when I take an h out of minus 3h, that just leaves me with minus 3. And notice these h's will simplify. My final answer is going to be 4x plus 2h minus 3. And a lot of people don't realize this, that this is the first step in calculus. The difference quotient is the definition of derivative, which is something that we use in calculus.